Welcome to tonight's License Subcommittee meeting. My name is Councillor Mercy Ume, and I'll be chairing tonight's meeting. The meeting is being broadcast live on Council's YouTube channel. If I lose connection and cannot reconnect, Councillor Wesley Hackett will take over for me. I would like to remind all participants a few housekeeping points. Please keep your microphone muted unless you are speaking. Please keep your camera turned on when you speak at the hearing. Please note that the chat function has been disabled. If parties wish to add any additional information other than their allocated time to speak, they must use raise hand function so that they're not missed. I also ask that members keep their questions and comments brief to the point. I now move to item 1 on our agenda. Item 1, apologies for absence. None was received. Item 2, declaration of interest. Do members have any declaration of interest? None. Item 3, AB Wines, 218 Oxbridge Road, London, West 12, 7JD review. I would like to ask everyone participating to introduce yourself as I call on you. We should have with us the applicants of the review. Charlotte Bennett, Met Police.
Good evening.
Good evening,
Chair. Yeah, I'm Charlotte Bennett from Police Licensing.
Thank you. We have Kerry Turner. Kerry?
Yes, good evening, Chair. I'm PC Tanner, who's the dedicated ward officer representing White City this evening.
Thank you. We have Aramin Solomani, Solicitor for Police.
That's right, Chair. Good to see you.
Thank you. We have Adrian Overton, Police Witness.
That's correct, Chair. Yeah, Adrian Overton, Licensing Service Manager. I'm here to support the police's review this evening. Thank you.
We have Matt Tucker, Licensing Policy and Administration Team Leader.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Chair. Thank you for the introduction. I'll be presenting the item this evening. Thank you.
Okay. We have Emmanuel Apencho, Legal Advisor.
Present, Chair. And also just to confirm, we have Safa Hussein, who's observing from legal as well.
Thank you. Licensee, we have Noel Samora, Solicitor for Premises License Holder.
Yes, good evening, Chair. I'm not a solicitor, I'm a licensing agent, but I'm here to represent the premises license holder this evening.
Okay, we have Sargenta and Rashina Sai. Are they here? Sargenta? No. Okay. We have supporting the review. We have Dario. Dario?
No present, Chair.
Okay. We have George and Cruz. Maria. They are here.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, we're
Thank
here.
you. Okay.
We're residents. Yeah.
Thank you. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too.
Procedure. Before we consider the application today, may I confirm that in addition to the main agenda, supplementary agenda A was published on 31st of October and supplementary B was published on the 3rd of November, 2025. I will quickly explain the procedure the committee will follow. We will hear from the following. The licensing officer will introduce the application. The applicant, Metropolitan Police, will present the grounds of the review, residents supporting the review, finally, the premises license holders representative. Usually, each party will address the committee for maximum of 5 minutes. Following the presentation by all parties, the committee may ask questions to any party or other person present at the hearing, except committee members. No party has the right to ask questions of any party at any time during the hearing. Following the presentation and questioning, each party will be allowed a maximum of 3 minutes to sum up their case or representation. The committee will then retire for deliberation. Upon its return, I will announce committee's decision. Please keep your remarks as concise as possible. Can we have the presenting officer to introduce the application?
Okay. Thank you very much, Chair. Thank you. Yes, so we're here to consider tonight an application that's been made by the Met Police for a review of a premises licence. So I'll cover that very briefly, including some updates, as you've alluded to, Chair, and highlight the actions open to the committee. So first of all, we're as we know, in the case of this premises AB Wines, the premises licence has been in the possession of the current premises licence holder since February 2009. Following receipt of the application, we notified the premises licence holder of the fact that a review had been applied for, and the consultation period opened up as a result. During that period, we received, in terms of bodies responding to the consultation, we received one from the community safety team. We then received 37 individual representations in support of the review from residents. And opposite to that, we received 9 representations commenting, effectively arguing against the review. So all of those are included in the papers that you have in front of you. Just to follow on from your point with regards to the additional updates since the report was first published, there has been some additional video evidence which has been supplied from the police, and as per the advice we as officers have received, that's been shared with the subcommittee, the council's legal team, the premises licence holder, and the premises licence holder's agent. I don't want to go further into that because the parties may wish to comment on that going forward, and no doubt the police will want to clarify what is on those points. On the back of their original representation, we've received an additional community safety statement, and that's in our supplementary A, as you mentioned, Chair. And in supplementary B, we have 2 additional updates, really, for want of a better word. One is the additional comments that have been made from the premises licence holder's agent in response to the written submissions that have been made, and also the original review application. And then we have some additional comments from licensing, who are supporting and acting as a witness to the police's representation. So that covers all of our updates since publication. And so having in due course your deliberations, once you've listened to everything, obviously the options open to you, just to summarise for the benefit of everyone, is for you as a committee to do nothing, to modify the conditions of the licence, to exclude a particular licensable activity from the licence, remove the designated premises supervisor, who we call the DPS, suspend the licence for a period not exceeding 3 months, or to revoke the licence. So I think that pretty much takes us up to where we need to be, Chair. Given that other parties you'll be looking to speak to other parties, etc., I will stop the presentation there. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Matt.
Sorry.
Now we go to the applicant, which is the Met. You're having 5 minutes, so I don't know who is going to be speaking on your behalf. Is it Charlotte? Is it Kerry? I don't know. So you choose who is going to be speaking. That's the applicant.
Yes, it'll be me speaking, Chair.
Okay.
Thank you.
You have 5 minutes.
Understood. I'll go as quickly as I can. I
Okay.
should be able to keep to that.
Okay.
And Chair, I know that you and your other councillors will have read the papers in detail, so I won't repeat the written evidence, and you can ask us any questions you have, of course. The officers are here for that as well. So essentially 5 things I want to say as to why we think revocation is the only answer today. The first is that the trigger incident is itself very serious. We're talking about the handling of stolen goods, which is a serious crime. We're talking about the DPS, who should be the responsible person participating in the handling of stolen goods. Shoplifting and purchasing shoplifted goods is a serious problem because it encourages shoplifting. And we all know how big a problem that is in our high streets today and for our shops. So that's serious. And the guidance itself, the statutory guidance from the Home Office, tells us that the storage and sale of smuggled alcohol is one of the sort of serious crimes that mean that revocation should be considered as the first step even if there's nothing else going on. And we'd say that applies here, the storage of stolen alcohol in this case. But on top of that trigger incident, there's a lot more going wrong at this premises. So the second point we'd make is that this is the third review for this premises. We believe there was one in 2016 and one in 2020. Those concerned issues about the sale of super strength alcohol and antisocial behavior associated with the sale of alcohol at the premises. It is extraordinary, Chair, to be in the position where a single off license has now got 3 reviews to its name. That tells it's an extraordinary situation to be in, but it will also make a mockery of the licensing regime if an off license is able to keep its license after 3 reviews. It would send a very poor signal to the other operators, the vast majority of whom play by the rules and incur costs to do so. So it's a very unusual situation. The third point we make is that there is serious antisocial behavior associated with this premises and associated with the sale of alcohol at this premises. And you have the representations, in particular from the public, explaining that, and you have members of the public who will speak to that today here. There is a huge amount of antisocial behavior on Uxbridge Road associated with this premises. People gathering outside, getting drunk, making noise, urinating, defecating, harassing passers-by. It's a nightmare for local residents, and it is caused by this premises, at least in part, selling alcohol to people who gather outside of its store. And that is a serious problem, and it undermines the licensing objectives, and revoking the license, removing their ability to sell alcohol would have a real intangible effect on that problem. It's the right thing to do. Fourth point I'd make is there have been serious breaches of the conditions again. So there is a breach of the CCTV condition. They can operate it. They can provide that to police in good time, which again could prejudice criminal investigations. There's a failure to report stolen goods being offered to trading standards. Again, very serious, undermines shoplifting protections. And there appears to have been sales of super strength alcohol. What the police found when they investigated the premises was that there was a fridge towards the back that's accessible to the public where super strength alcohol was being stored. Now, the obvious conclusion is that's being sold to the public. What the premises say is, no, we've just kept that since the 2020 review when we were forbidden from selling super strength, and that's just left over from then. But we don't believe that. We don't believe someone would upkeep a fridge for 5 years for things they're not planning to sell. We think it's very likely it's being sold to the public. And reinforcing that, when the officers were there at the premises in plain clothes, they repeatedly saw people coming into the store, and then the DPS or the owner looking at the person, shaking his head, urging them to leave, and the people leaving. Now, we think that's connected to the sale of super strength alcohol, people coming in, going around the back and purchasing it. Fifth point we'd make is that there's a lack of integrity and a lack of trust in this operator. That's why we can't impose new conditions, because we've already tried that. They haven't complied with the licensing regime. They've undermined the licensing regime. They've proven themselves incapable of adhering to their licensing conditions. We say they've lied about the sale of super strength alcohol. And you'll notice in the police's representations their dismissive attitude when questioned by police in connection with this investigation, which is very inappropriate. We need cooperation with the responsible authorities. So ultimately, to briefly conclude, this is the third review, which is extraordinary. There was a serious trigger incident. There's a long history of antisocial behavior associated with this premises. And finally, revocation would just mean they can't sell alcohol. It doesn't mean you're shutting down the business. And if they improve, they can apply for a license and sell alcohol again. So for all those reasons, we would ask you to revoke the license, Chair.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Solomon. Now I'm going to go to Dario. Is he here?
No, Chair.
No. Okay, then George, you have 5 minutes, and Cruz Maria, you have 5 minutes. So which one of you want to start?
We're gonna do it together. We are residents, and we've felt of Frithfield Gardens at the top of the road. We've been there for 4 years, and we felt the consequences in a serious way. We have 2 small children, 4 and 2 years old. In order to go to a supermarket, I have to go past AB Wines. As early as 3 p.m., 2 p.m., I have been harassed by a group of men gathering addicts. I've been shouted at. It's affected my mental health. I feel threatened. My children have been shouted at. I've called the police, I think, about 100 times for the last 4 years. I think this place should not be selling alcohol. There's very strange and suspicious things going in there. We are there every day. We see things every day.
Yeah, just to add to that, you know, I'd say we see antisocial behavior stemming from AB wines almost every single week, and in the summer months when it's, you know, when it's busiest, sometimes every single day. You know, there's drug dealing, junkies, always present, operating inside, around the premises, often blocking the street, taking over the bus stop, making it really scary and intimidating for residents to walk past, take public transport. I've myself received numerous drunken threats, the offer of hard drugs, lewd comments directed at my wife, young girls, often children. I've seen that on a regular basis all around AB Wines. We've spoken to the guy working there, and I think the owner, and they've said they would do something about it, but we've never seen any evidence of that. You know, we've seen drunks, drug users lying down in the road outside the shop, alcohol bottles, cigarette butts, detritus from the shop everywhere on the pavement. As I say, we don't feel safe walking past AB Wines with our young children on the way to or from school. It makes it longer to get home because we have to go around it, crossing busy roads. Alcohol and hard drugs consumed openly outside the shop and sometimes inside. I've seen as well late night street parties with loud music take place just outside when the weather is good, keeping us and our children awake. We've seen clientele of the shop urinating and defecating on the pavement outside the shop almost every day during the summer months.
Yeah.
We've complained so many times to the shop and its owner for the past 4 years. We've tried to help by discouraging addicts and alcoholics and dealers around the shop by saying, look, please, we've got children and, you know, can you respect that? But that hasn't worked. So I believe that by revoking the license, we will see a significant decrease in the antisocial behavior on our street, our neighborhood, and our community.
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, George and Cruz. Okay, now we go to Noel and Sojinta. So Noel, I think you'll be speaking. I don't know who is be speaking on.
I will make the presentation to you, Chair, in this case. But
Okay, so I'm going to allow you 15 minutes. Okay.
I don't think it would take that long, Chair, because I know that yourself and the rest of the members have had the opportunity to go through the bundle that was sent to you. I would like to say at the outset that there's conflicting narratives to this hearing this evening, and I am quite surprised to hear they are quite opposite. But I wish to thank everyone for giving me the opportunity to try and present the case as best I can for AB Wines. But this review was brought by the Metropolitan Police, as we know, with a single incident earlier this year involving a known offender that went into the shop. And initially said he was trying to return some goods. He then said that he was injured, begging for money and causing a bit of a problem in the shop. The shopkeeper kept telling him no, and you can see that in the video you see, and he kept waving his hand at him to tell him no, no, no. He eventually gave him a few coins from the till and told him to leave. When he was going out, he turned to Nadeem and said, oh, I have some more stuff. And Nadeem said, no, we're not interested in anything. And he left the shop. The narrative that you've been given is that regular people go in there and try and steal stolen goods. That is not the case. This was a one-off situation. He left the cans at the back of the store, from what I understand, so he wasn't caught with them when he was leaving. The police did not arrest this guy on the premises. What actually happened was the Tesco's security guard came in and said, that man has stolen some stuff from Tesco's. Is he trying to sell it here? The chap had already left the shop. Nadine went there, found them at the back of the store, gave them to the security guard. As the security guard was leaving the shop, the PCSO was passing, and he explained what was going on. And that's what you can see actually in the video that you've already seen. Nadeem has been the DPS there for quite some time. He is a responsible young man. However, his English is not the best. And I think there was some comments that he made to the police that he misunderstood or didn't realise what he was saying. Because in the video, you can see the police were leaving. They were very happy. Nadeem stops them to tell them that he'd given the chap some money, which you wouldn't do if you were trying to hide something or do something you knew was illegal. And I know that you've seen that in the video. The shop does suffer and has suffered in the past some confrontational situations. And I think Oxford Road is general, has something like 30 to 40 premises that sell alcohol. The reviews that have been mentioned to you in the latest ones were the police asked the license holder to stop selling strong beer. The license holder said that, well, a lot of his customers who finish night work, that's the beer they want to buy. So he didn't agree to do it. He was then brought to review in front of the committee, and it was decided that his maximum alcohol strength of beers and lagers and ciders should be 5.5%, which is always adhered to ever since. With regards to the comment about a fridge out the back, I know in the bundle, you've seen the photo, that fridge is not in use. It's an old fridge that's dumped there, and there were some old cans from old stock. It's just like, they weren't even, the fridge isn't even switched on. So to say that they use this fridge out the back that is accessible to customers is a complete fabrication. It's in the back of the storeroom. The customers don't have access to the storeroom. One very important point to make is a very well-regarded officer from Trading Standards, Mr. Love, has been to the shop many times and done many investigations there. You've seen the emails yourself, and to suggest at all that this premises does not try their very, very best and work with whoever will listen to them is just untrue. The only reason they started having problems at that shop was when Transport for London, in their infinite wisdom, decided to move the bus stop from under the bridge to outside their shop, which became a focal point for people who wanted to stay there. Yes, drink alcohol in the street, but as I said to you, there are many places that those strong beers and that alcohol can be bought from, and it cannot be bought from AB Wines. The other thing to strongly mention is the residents, and we are not belittling their problems or how they feel whatsoever. The residents are mainly down the road that leads to the park. Now, unfortunately, AB Wines is on the corner. So the last place these people pass to turn left down towards the park is AB Wines. Now, the residents can't see where they bought the alcohol from, but the assumption is they must have bought it from there. That also is not the case. All of the alcohol that's sold in the Uxbridge area has to be labelled, or should be labelled, by the shop that sells it. No one has ever found any cans of strong beer or any other beer, as far as I'm aware, with an AB Wine sticker on it. So that would imply that it's not them that's supplying it. Now, we're not saying that some people don't go in there and buy a 4-pack of beer and walk down to the park, but it's not the narrative that's been suggested. As far as drunk people defecating on the pavement, if these things are happening, the shopkeeper can only do so much. And he can complain to the PCSOs, he can complain to the police. He can do everything he can. And eventually, this particular shopkeeper took it upon himself to write to his local councillor. And it wasn't until the local council got involved and really pressed to try and have something done in that particular area. But it's all over. And the police do have a responsibility to support shopkeepers who are having a problem. This shop has been there for many, many, many years. But it's very, very unfair for them to get blamed for everything. The breaches that were mentioned to you, some of them were totally incorrect. To suggest that the operator didn't have a personal license, well, she does, and she's had one for many years. So to suggest that they're selling strong beers, well, that is not the case, because Mr. Love has been there many times, never found anything that shouldn't be sold there. So I think that it's unfair to put in everything on this one particular premises. They have never had, from what I'm aware, complaints made about them specifically to the council. The council has never really written to them and mentioned anything about antisocial behaviour. However, the shop itself has, because it affects their business just as much as it affects the residents. And hence why the residents are upset about this shop. And that's hence why part of the reason they're here before you this evening. The CCTV system was a new system that had been installed. He didn't know how to operate it, but Chair, when the police are breathing down your neck, it's very, very, people get nervous. And he was able to show them, but not download it. He has been fully trained on that now, and that is not the case. The licence holder has also taken the opportunity to give them some extra training on how to deal with people that may come in and try and sell them stolen goods, and what to say and how to deal with it, and also for some conflict management training as well, because you know that area is a difficult area, and it's not only that shop that suffers with it. So they've had some extra training on how to deal with that. There's also some signage that's been made up that they are going to put at the front of the shop, given the opportunity. And that is that to put a sign up that they will not buy stolen goods. I mean, it's an awful thing to have to put up in any front of your shop, but they are happy to do that. As I mentioned before, the antisocial behaviour, the shop has tried so much to work with the local authority to try and remove these people. And it's taken them a long time to do it, but there's been no antisocial behaviour there for quite some time, since the local police and the PCSOs have done a great job to move them on. The only problem is, Chair, you move them from there, they move to somewhere else. And as I said, part of their problem for the residents is the road they live on, because it leads down to the park. They have done some remedial things, and they have said they are prepared to change the DPS, and Rajesh, the owner, said he would take over as the DPS. However, in this case, I don't think that's really appropriate unless the committee feels it is, but they are prepared to do that. And they are open to additional conditions, but I think Mr. Solomani is right in one respect, that the conditions are there, and there's no real evidence that they've been breaking any conditions. I did see a late submission from the licensing authority regarding warning letters. I haven't had a chance to really investigate it properly, because I think it came in about an hour or 2 hours before the hearing. But I did speak to Rajesh about them. Some of them he doesn't know anything about. Some of them he has answered to them, and he does cooperate fully with the licensing authority at any time. With regards to promoting the 4 licensing objectives, crime and disorder, they have a zero tolerance policy towards buying stolen goods. CCTV and the refusals incident logs are all there. They always have been. With regards to the comment that was made about she didn't have them, well, she did. What she didn't have were the invoices. And I think there's a bit of a lack of communication. As I said, regarding public safety, the staff have now been retrained in conflict management and the procedures in using the CTV. And the public nuisance regarding that, they've had engagement with TfL and the local police to try and manage the street and stop any congregation. The difficulty is the bus stop that has been moved outside of their shop. With regards to the protection of children, Challenge 25 signage is up, refresher training has been done, and they keep their records up to date. There is a community effect at the premises, a low-risk, well-managed premises. Now, the area itself may not be that well managed, but the operator can only do so much. He doesn't sell strong beers. He doesn't sell alcohol to people who are drunk. And there's never been any evidence to support that except in hearsay. Now, I know you're an experienced committee and you've heard things that are exaggerated to try and people get their point across, but it should be looked on a point of evidence. And I haven't seen any evidence to support what is being said. So in the context of proportionality, members will note there's over 30 licensed premises in the area. The limited antisocial behaviour has been observed in the area wide since the bus location was moved. And as I said, Rajesh has spoken to his local councillor many times and TfL. Obviously, TfL aren't going to move the bus stop again, but the local councillors did a fantastic job in helping him to get the police and the local community police to actually move these people on and disperse. I am not disputing that the local resident says yes, there were people out there with their beat boxes. I wouldn't go as far as to say that any drugs or anything were being taken on the premises, but in that bus stop, there was a lot of things that were going on that shouldn't have been going on, that was being reported by the local residents and by the shop owner himself. And that's been evidenced to you in the bundle. As you know, revocation, chair and committee, should be the last resort. And this particular operator in this particular case has been cried out for help for quite some time. He has managed to get it, probably in the last 6 to 8 months. And I think that from what I've seen and from what I've been told by other residents, everything has calmed down and the groups of youngsters have moved on. I really do think that revocation in this particular situation, even though it's being asked for, would be disproportionate. And just because, as Mr. Suarez has been before you twice already, doesn't always mean to say that it's a problem premises. Because if it comes before you and you feel there should be things done, and it's done, that really should be the end of it, to support him. He's been there a long, long time. And as you've seen already, some of the local residents actually support him quite strongly. In conclusion, this is a community serving business, experienced, and in an isolated situation, should be supported by the local residents. The incident was handled in good faith, and the premises demonstrated exemplary compliance. The licence holder respectfully submits that he doesn't wish his licence to be taken away. That is his livelihood, how he feeds his family, and he does everything he can to uphold the licence and objectives. But as you are quite aware, it has been a difficult area, but I think in the long run, with the support of the licensed authority, the police, he can carry on and still be a valuable premises to the local community. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Now we go to committee question. Can I ask each committee member to ask questions of any party about the application and the issues that has been raised at the hearing in relation to 4 licensing objectives, the prevention of crime and other, public safety, prevention of public nuisance, the protection of children from harm. So can I ask committee member? Okay, Councillor Afghan. Yes.
Thank you, Chair. My first question, if you allow, Chair, can I ask the police representative, PC Bennett, if that's all right?
Yes.
Thank you, Chair. So my question is, can you confirm exactly what was witnessed on the 28th of July, 2025, and what happened on that particular date constitutes handling stolen goods? And part B of that question is, was any formal charge or caution issued to the DPS or staff following this incident? Thank you.
So the offence of handling stolen goods took place on that date. So there was this shoplifter had brought alcohol into the licensed premises, into AB Wines. He's left it at the back of the store. The premises license holder has provided CCTV of this incident. Obviously, there's no words, it's just visual. So I can't see I don't know what words were exchanged at the time of watching this CCTV. The person that had brought in the stolen alcohol was in there for a short period of time. I'm on note, again, I don't know what words were exchanged at that time. He stands by the till for a short bit of time, and then he puts his hand out, and then the DPS has handed over £5 in coins. Following that, Tesco's have then come back to retrieve the stolen alcohol. Police were alerted to what had happened, and then PCSO Lambert, he has spoken to the DPS at the store, and you would have seen this on body worn video. He asks if there's CCTV available, and the DPS says that there is. And then he also says that he gave him £5 for those goods. Accepting the money, accepting the goods and then providing money, that constitutes handling stolen goods. What I would have advised at the time is that if the DPS had concerns around this property being stolen, he shouldn't have accepted the goods at all and said they need to be left outside the shop, and he should have called the police at the time, and the police would have dealt with it appropriately. No exchange of money should have occurred at that time. In regards to the whether the DPS has been charged, no, he hasn't at the moment. It's what we believe would be in the public interest for the amount that was sold. It was sold for £5. It would be whether it's in the public interest to prosecute at this time, but that investigation is still ongoing, so I can't comment on that any further at the moment.
Chair, with your permission, may I ask a follow-up?
Please do.
Thank you, Chair. Did you observe, now I want to go back to the history of AB Wines, and I know that of recent they have started using CCTV, they've installed a new system. Have you observed any improvement or cooperation from them before deciding to bring this review? That's my question.
Okay, in relation to the CCTV, yes, they provided the CCTV to us when requested. What I would note is that on the day when I did visit, which was the 29th of July, the DPS was unable to use that CCTV, and I spent some time trying to figure out how to use it myself in order to access the footage. Yeah, that the statement before relating to the CCTV, he couldn't use it. and it definitely appeared that he hadn't been trained in using it at the time. Following that, the only I would say cooperation we've had from the venue since the review is that I have had 2 emails from Trading Standards where the premises license holder has reported that there was 2 people that have visited his venue since trying to sell what he believes is stolen alcohol. That this would highlight to me that this has been regularly occurring at their premises, and not only now, since we have applied for a review, they are now contacting Trading Standards to make them aware that this is going on. Also, PC Tanner, who is the local ward officer, would have probably a lot more information in regards to like some of the background and history and her interactions with the venue as well, as I believe she has had quite a few interactions with them.
So was this the only time that Trading Standards had been informed by the venue, you think, of stolen goods, or has this happened before as well?
I can't comment on that. I have only been in licensing since June myself, but since I have been on the team, I have only been notified by Trading Standards since I applied for the review that the premises license holder has notified them in relation to the selling of stolen goods.
Okay, well, thank you so much. Then may I ask PC Tanner to provide some information about her interaction with AB Wines?
Yes, good evening.
Thank you.
So since I was a dedicated ward officer for White City for 2 years, and AB Wines and that kind of junction, Uxbridge Road and Frithfield Gardens, has been predominantly our area of concern on the White City, and obviously the White City is a huge area to look after. I have made several attempts. Obviously, when I first started there, I spoke to the previous licensing officers who have informed me about some issues that they had with AB Wines. But my kind of initial instinct was to kind of look at, are they engaging with the police? And they were at the time saying, they were having difficulties trying to manage the crowd outside the store. So initially I engaged with Designing Out Crime, with TfL, and lots of kind of other parties to try and really kind of stamp down on what was going on there. I put up PSPO leaflets in AB Wines' window and on the bus stop and surrounding areas to try and deter this, because I knew that this was a kind of real big issue. Obviously, we've kind of spoken about the defecating on people's doorsteps, urinating, and women and girls and children being really severely intimidated walking past there. But it wasn't my first kind of jump to look at AB Wines being the issue. However, as the time has gone on and I've had to visit the store for the types of the crowds that gather, you start to kind of build a picture of them going into the store to get the alcohol that then leads to this drunken, intoxicated, again, intimidating, harassing, kind of really aggressive type approach outside the store. And then you kind of think that there has to be some kind of responsibility of the licensee to then stop selling alcohol to these people outside the store. I've been to that bus stop outside where people are shielding their alcohol in plastic bags, so it's really difficult then to see, what the alcohol is that they're buying. So to then go in and ask the shop what's happening. But they say that they are quite into the store. The DPS has said that he's intimidated by these people as well. Sorry, kind of getting sidetracked. But yeah, there is a big issue there, and I've up until the point where this happened, this incident where the PCS, we've got evidence of them buying them kind of taking the money from the person, then it kind of the jigsaw kind of starts to fall into place, that these people are, in my professional opinion, only there because they are buying cheap alcohol. They are probably buying stolen alcohol. And it all kind of feeds into that just really hostile environment. And I do believe, after going into the store, checking the fridges that had the alcohol that was over the license limit, shopkeeper, that they are selling this, and the shopkeeper at the back was kind of a bit shifty, and people were coming in and out of the store, and they were looking over their shoulder, not now, don't come in yet, come back later. There is this real kind of almost toxic culture around AB Wines, where they're fist bumping, where they know the same people, they all go and hang out. And when I, as a lone female officer, walk past there, these males are then, instead of disappearing and dispersing like I asked them to do, they are going into the store. And that only feeds my opinion that there is some relationship between these people and the DPS and the shop owner. And not only that, I've asked the shop owner to come into the station to help me with trying to deal with the issues that are ongoing. And it's either they're on holiday, or there's they couldn't make it, it's we want to try and resolve these issues, but if you're getting that kind of response, it's really, it's not working with us. If for someone that's obviously trying to keep their license, it's not in keeping with what Mr. Samaru summarized.
Thank you, PC Tanner, for giving such a detailed picture. If I may ask you one more follow-up question, what evidence shows that the alcohol purchased there caused all this? How can you tell that the alcohol that people had in bags was actually purchased at AB Wines?
Other than the fact that they're sitting outside the shop, and that they have a relationship with the shop, the DPS, there is no evidence.
And were any other nearby off licenses investigated in the same period?
Charlotte might be able to help me with that.
Thank you.
I'm not entirely sure.
No, we didn't focus our attention on any of the other off licenses in the area when this was flagged to our attention.
Okay, well, thank you so much for those very detailed answers. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. Thanks. I saw Noel putting his hands up. What do you want to say?
I just wanted to ask the officer that.
No, I'm afraid you can't ask the officer any question.
Oh, okay. Well, I won't ask any questions then, Chair.
No, you can't. But you can tell us what you want to tell us, but no question to the officer, and the officer cannot ask you a question. The questions has to come from the committee only.
Okay. Well, what I wanted to say was that, as far as we're aware, since July, there have not been these incidents at the shop. And I would like to also mention that the owner of the premises, to say that he has not tried his very best to work with the police and the council and trading standards is just not true. And there are many, many emails that I know are available to the police, to the council, to his councillor, to TfL regarding these issues that he is also suffering. But to say that he harbours these people and supports these people and he's friends with these people is just not true.
Okay. Thank you so much. Can I have Councillor Wesley he put to speak, please, to ask his question?
Thank you, Chair. Just a few questions, quickly following up from what my colleague has just been asking. The last question that was asked was, what evidence is there that the alcohol being drunk by these people in the bus stop and such like was actually purchased from AB Wines? One of the conditions that AB Wines has is that all alcohol has to be labelled with their premises. Has anybody, and I'm asking both the police or the licensing and anybody else, or even the residents for that matter, has anybody ever looked to see that these cans that we're told are being left lying around, bottles, etc., actually have the AB Wine sticker on them?
I might be able to help with that one, Councillor. Just in relation to my comments in support of the police's review, for the visit in July 2023, and there was a further visit in December 2023, and at that stage there was an issue with labels not being put on cans. And it's my view that maybe that's why, you know, alcohol hasn't been found with those labels on it, maybe because the premises isn't complying with that condition to actually put the labels on the cans in the first place.
That was 2023, though.
Yeah, so
we're now 2 years on.
Yeah, no, that's a fair point. Yeah.
Okay, so nobody appears to have checked that. Is that correct?
When I visited the store, I don't remember seeing any labels on the cans in the store, but that's if my memory serves me correct. I don't remember seeing that.
Okay, thank you. I've heard that there's been no further incidents since the review was submitted, but I think PC Bennett, you actually say after you submitted the request for the review, there have been 2 further incidents. Could you perhaps just tell me what they were?
Apologies. Let me just refer back to my statement. So basically, sometimes we receive intelligence which can either come from a police source, or it can also come from what we would deem as a non-police source. So sometimes we can't always corroborate that information. It could have come in from Crime Stoppers, or that this person has approached a police officer to report something, and it would then get recorded onto one of our intel systems. So on the 27th of September, we were made aware of an ongoing antisocial behaviour, the incidents occurring outside of the venue, with men gathering outside, drinking, causing a nuisance. And then on the 28th of September, police were called by a victim, a female victim, and she had reported that she had been assaulted by a male, and it was actually at the doorway of AB Wines, so they were pretty much inside the premises. And she basically said that she was grabbed by this male and slapped in the face. Whether they knew each other or not, I don't know, but it seemed from watching the body worn video like she appeared to be quite a regular customer in there. Then officers, the response team that were on scene at that time, they reviewed the source CCTV, and that corroborated what actually happened. So in my opinion, it does seem to be a bit of a hub for this sort of disorder, and the people that it attracts to the venue. I'm not saying that incident was the venue's fault, but we do have a reoccurring issue here where we do have ASB and sometimes violent assaults happening outside the venue, and on this occasion it was inside. In regards to, I don't know if you was also referring to the trading standards point.
I was particularly referring to that last incident where there was a victim of an assault.
Yeah.
Inside, or certainly in the doorway of the premises, and whether which your statement says was corroborated by the CCTV.
Yeah.
So was the victim interviewed?
So the victim gave an account of what took place on the day. Whether if police will not follow up with a criminal investigation, depending on the severity of it, if the victim doesn't support police action. So the police, I believe, asked the DPS on the day if there was CCTV, and corroborated that this incident that had happened, but they would not retrieve it unless that victim was willing to pursue a police investigation and support police action. But like I said, I reviewed that body-worn video from the attending officer, and for me, just in terms of the behaviour and the approach, the female seemed to be a regular customer at the venue, and she said that she didn't know this male that slapped her in the face. I'm not sure, and again, it just builds this picture that if we didn't have these crowds of people gathering outside this venue and using it as a hub or a meeting point, and then potentially purchasing alcohol from this venue, you deter all that sort of behaviour and that sort of crime. And yeah, for me, doing the background research that I did, I think I did it for about a year because I think that's proportionate. I think there's quite a lot of incidents that are related to this venue, in comparison to other off licenses that we see on the Hammersmith and Fulham borough.
Okay, can I just, excuse me, can I just clarify, when you said that, was it the DPS who said there was video to corroborate the fact that she was slapped, or did you say you'd actually seen that corroborative video?
I haven't seen it, no, myself. It was the DPS corroborated that there would be CCTV and passed that on to the attending officers at the time. I haven't seen that video footage myself. But
the police officer, the one, or your colleagues will have seen it?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, thanks very much. A rather silly question in many ways. Going back to about page 5 or 6, I think it is, of the main agenda. Did somebody really do a full inspection on Christmas Day?
No, Councillor, I can help with that. Actually, I was going to clarify that point. No, that should have been July, the 25th of July, 2023. And in my comments in support, I think it mentions it's about the third paragraph up from my conclusion. It says in December 2023, a licensing inspection took place following a complaint of irresponsible alcohol sales. That is the one that was supposed to have taken place on the 25th of December. And as I said, that in fact took place on the 25th of July. And on that occasion, there were breaches of conditions. The 5.5% for beers and ciders was found to be breached. And also the condition about labelling was also found to be breached on that occasion as well.
But it says no further action.
Yes, but there was actually a warning letter, so that was incorrect as well. There was a warning letter issued on that occasion.
I suppose that therefore begs the question, doesn't it? How much of that timeline is accurate?
We have gone through the rest of the timeline. I'm confident the rest of the timeline is accurate. Yeah, no, I can only apologise for that error, and that's that is unfortunate. But that's something we're looking to rectify in future.
Okay, a question I think to Matt Tucker. There was a mention about complaints to the council and a number of complaints. Have you got any record of the number of complaints that there have been about these premises over the last couple of years?
Thank you, Councillor. I think actually that technical question could probably be best answered by Adrian in his capacity as licensing responsible authority. The reason I say that is because I'm speaking to Charlotte's point about being new to the area / licensing. I've been here since February, so I think Adrian may well be able to answer that question a bit better than I will.
Okay.
Thank you, Councillor.
Sorry, Councillor. Yeah, could you just clarify that? So was that in relation to previous enforcement history at the premises, or?
I can't remember who it was. I can go through my notes and find it. Somebody here said about there have been numerous complaints to the council. It may have been the residents. I can't remember, but I'm just wanting to know how many complaints, if indeed any, there have been directly to the licensing department or the council about these premises.
That may have been the community safety officer. I know in her representation she mentioned about a number of complaints and sort of summarised those. I know I've mentioned about several complaints in my comments in support, but I can't give you an exact number on that, in terms of exactly how many complaints have been made. But yeah, there have been quite a few.
Okay, and I suppose that follows up. What follows on from that is, how does that compare to the many other off-license premises in the area?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't got the figures on that to sort of do a compare and contrast against the other off-license premises. I mean, suffice to say that it is a premises that we are aware of, and that enforcement action has been carried out, and it's a premises that is spoken about a licensing action group that we have with all responsible authorities every fortnight, every other week. So yeah, I would say it's a premises of concern that we're aware of.
Yeah, I think it was actually, I'm looking at my notes, Mr. Simaru said that there were never any specific complaints about AB wines to the council, and you're saying that there have been, just to clarify.
Yes, no, I think it's fair to, yeah, there have been complaints to the council about this premises, yes.
Yeah, okay. Next thing I want to clear up is obviously sales of alcohol to vulnerable people, and there's an issue around the hostel or whatever it is, which is above or connected to these premises. Can somebody tell me what the situation is with that? Its suggestion is that it's owned by the same license holders. Is that correct?
I don't have any information on that, councillor.
Mr. Samaru, perhaps? You're on mute. You're still on mute.
Beg your pardon, councillor. No, it's not owned by the proprietor or the company or anything to do with AB Wines. They're completely separate.
Completely separate. Okay. What else did I want to ask?
Well, I don't have
okay, can I'll leave it at that for now,
okay.
Chair.
Okay. Councillor Afghan. Yeah. Yes.
Thank you, Chair. I have a couple of questions for Mr. Overton, if that's all right.
Yes.
Okay, so my first question is, when was the last compliance inspection done, and what were the findings of the last compliance inspection?
So from my records, the last licensing compliance inspection was in December 2023. And on that occasion, there was a breach of the condition in relation to 5.5% beers and ciders, and also alcohol being labelled correctly.
We're close to December 2025, so 2 years on. Have there not been any other compliance inspections in this entire period?
There haven't, from the licensing team's point of view. No, we haven't carried out a full inspection. Obviously, we work closely with the police. We work closely with trading standards and other responsible authorities as well. But no, it's correct to say that the licensing team haven't carried out an inspection since that time.
Okay. So if they have made improvements and they've been putting their labels on, you would not know, because since December 2023, there has been no proper compliance inspection.
That's fair to say. Yes, that's correct. I mean, obviously, we would get intelligence, as I said, from other authorities, but in terms of ourselves going into the premises, that's correct. Yeah.
Okay. Then the other question is, in terms of partnership work, what collaboration took place between licensing, trading standards, police, and the premises to reduce the ASB that we've been talking about? Because obviously that's a huge concern for the residents, and it's caused them much discomfort. So what has been done in collaboration by the licensing authority, by trading standards, police, working together to help bring down ASB?
That's something we've really been speaking to community safety colleagues about. and law enforcement officers as well, and that's something that was been raised at a licensing action group on a number of occasions. And I would say, I think it's fair to say that the community safety have really taken the lead in that regard. We were aware that the license holder, I think it was in July this year, actually contacted the council and said that on occasions he felt intimidated by some of the customers in the premises, and that he felt that, maybe on some occasions he was being pressured into selling alcohol to certain individuals, and that the people congregating outside weren't anything to do with his premises. So that's when we felt that was really more of a community safety and a law enforcement issue. So that's why it's been moved sort of more that way.
So would you say that AB Wines has been working with you at least since July to help bring down the ASB?
I would say, I mean, I can't speak on behalf of colleagues from community safety as in terms of how they found their interaction, but I mean, I think there's certainly been a communication. I'm not sure exactly what it says in the community safety colleagues representation about that issue, but
okay, so in any of those meetings that were had, was the bus stop relocation, which was a TfL decision, recognised as a contributing factor to the congregation and nuisance?
I think it was spoken about as an issue, and I know, I recall that was certainly raised by the license holder. As I said, we didn't have a direct conversation with the license holder about that issue. This was via sort of internal meetings. I was aware of the fact that the bus stop was an issue, and I think the police have been made aware of that problem as well in the past. But yes, it's something that we were aware of.
Okay, thank you so much. I have some questions for the premises license holder, but I understand PC Tanner wants to come and give some input on the ASB question. Would you allow that, Chair? Could I let her?
Yeah.
Thank you, Chair. Very kind.
Yeah, just to reiterate what I said before, obviously we tried to engage with the owner, ask him in, invite him in to talk about the concerns over the activity that had been going on outside. And on numerous occasions, we failed to meet due to no response or him being unable to. So it was never that we kind of put it all down to AB Wines. That was never the case. But obviously, when you're trying to resolve these issues, and they are really pertinent issues in the community, I would think it would be wise for a license holder to really engage with the police in resolving these matters. I did talk to TfL with regards to the potential of moving the bus stop. I know that there was some issues with the parameters. There has to be a certain distance between bus stops due to disabled people getting onto different stops, and they need to obviously calibrate how that's done. They also talk about the promotional aspect of bus stops and all of those kind of issues as well. And also it comes down to the fact that there wasn't as many reports coming in about the bus stop itself. So I know that they didn't kind of, that was kind of a non-starter, but it was raised with them.
Sorry, so you do think that the bus stop being there has contributed a little bit to the ASB and the congregation problem?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, it definitely harbours the issue. Yeah, there's kind of that's it. There's the joint kind of responsibility as well. But obviously, there's a reason why they're kind of there as well, and kind of not hearing back from the owner with regards to resolving the police kind of issues and the community issues was a huge concern for me as a neighbourhoods officer.
Councillor, have you finished?
Chair, I had some questions of the premises holder.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. So will I address my questions to Mr. Rajesh?
I'm not sure if he's still with us, to be honest, Councillor, but I can. Oh,
he's
no.
there.
He's there.
He's there?
He's there. If he's happy to answer the questions, then my question is that to Mr. Rajesh, do you understand and accept that regardless of your intent, the fact that there has been an exchange of money for stolen goods, this constitutes a serious breach of trust?
Between whom? Sorry.
So the fact that there was an exchange of money.
Yeah.
We've listened to the story about the DPS, and
Mhm.
we will not question the
Sure.
intent because we don't know what the intent was. But do you understand that it's a serious crime and a breach of trust that stolen goods were paid for?
Yes, it is obviously, and we never buy any stolen goods. We never would buy stolen goods. I mean, we are pretty sure about it. This was a very, if you see the video, it's very obvious. We had customers waiting, and we had customers in and out, and this person, my staff, Nadeem Sultan, was pressured into paying him money because he was loud and his mannerisms were not very good. So he just gave him some money just to leave the shop because he could serve young lady standing behind him. He just was in a situation where he couldn't have done anything better to make the situation not any worse, because the man was quite adamant on getting his money. He was hungry, he said, and he had a problem with his feet. The staff has been trained into conflict management, so he knows, how to prevent a violent situation, or the safety of customers is prime basically. So he just did what he thought was the best at that moment of time, to just give him some money, let him go, have his lunch or whatever he wanted. uh, that's all I can say basically. And he's an honest man.
Did he then report the stolen goods himself?
No, he didn't actually, because what happened is, within a few minutes, the staff from Tesco came in, and he asked whether that man brought anything. He said yes. So he went to the back. It was about 7, 8 cans of drinks, basically, mixed drinks, cocktail drinks. So he gave it back to the Tesco staff. The staff just went away, basically. So there wasn't any kind of attempt to hide it, or any attempt to refuse him, basically. He took the Tesco staff took his stuff away, basically. While he was going out, he saw police officer, and he reported it to the police officer.
Okay, so have any of your staff received any formal police cautions or been interviewed under caution about this event or since that event?
Never, never,
No.
never, because it never happened before or after that.
Okay. How do you ensure that staff can operate CCTV? Because listening to
Yes.
PC Bennett, I'm concerned that your staff is not able to
No,
operate the CCTV system.
no, he is very well, actually, because what happened is, it's a new CCTV. So I had to suddenly, after installing the CCTV, I had to all of a sudden, due to an emergency, my wife was not well. She was abroad, and she was suddenly had to be hospitalized. So I had to leave, and the training I provided him was like a one-off training. And he's a school dropout, Phoenix school dropout. He is not very technical person. So he obviously had a quick show of how to use the CCTV, and at that point he was a bit nervous because of the incident. So obviously he forgot what to do. And the only thing is, the new CCTV system, if you use it after a long gap, it shows you a login window with the password and user ID, and that came up, and he was a bit surprised, like what to do. And then hence he probably might have forgotten what to do, or he didn't knew what to do basically at that point, because normally you just go in and you can view the videos. And after that, the incident which PC Bennett has mentioned, that a lady being slapped, basically. Now that incident happened because, well, I can tell you what happened during that incident. And
no, you don't have to tell me about that incident, but you can
but
talk about the
the
CCTV
yes,
involvement.
yeah. So what happened is, after that incident happened, the police came in, and the police asked for the CCTV to be shown, and Nadeem managed to show him properly. Two officers, they had a very good look at the CCTV, and they found out that it was the lady's fault basically. So the lady followed that man behind into the shop and was swearing at him. So they just said, we don't want the footage basically, and they went away.
Okay,
They
thank
went
you.
away. Yeah,
Thank you. So he is able to operate
Oh
the
yes,
CCTV.
yes. After that, he has managed to view the footage. Review the footage
Okay.
many times.
And can you demonstrate that all staff have completed the Challenge 25
Oh yes, I
training?
mean, we have been operating for last nearly 14 years, and we never had any incident of serving an underage person. Never.
And do you keep a log? If
Yes.
any incident takes place, do you keep an incident log?
We have a book basically, and it's always behind the till. It's always there, and we note down if we refuse anyone, or if anything happens, we note it down basically. So it's always there.
And has your DPS done any conflict management training?
He has been, yes, and hence he just offered that person money just to get rid of him, to avoid any what you call a violent situation where that person was a bit loud and intimidating. So he knows very well, and he deals with so many rough people every day, walking up and down the street. So he knows how to avoid conflicts. And with a gang of 30-40 drug dealers sitting outside and coming inside the shop, and without any incident for such a long time, that's remarkable. I would say he's very good at handling all kinds of people.
So
And
you do agree there's a lot of drug dealing happening outside your shop?
it was happening. That was in the past. So since May, we don't have anyone outside the shop, because we had I had to approach the councillor Stephen Cohen basically, and I did email a lot to the local enforcement team. I sent them emails telling them what is happening, and they uh, there wasn't any change in the situation. So I had to approach the councillor, and the councillor quickly responded, and the problem was resolved basically. The problem was resolved, and then that was in last year in November. And then the problem again kind of started in May this year, but this was resolved straight away by councillor. So uh, the problem is that these people pretend to be drinking, but they're doing something else. And I've been mentioning that in my emails. I had sent long emails to the enforcement team explaining, like they have to do something about it. But I don't think anything was done until I approached Councillor Stephen Cohen.
Will you be able to share how many emails you've sent to the LET teams?
I have provided everything to Mr. Samaro actually, and all the emails probably are in the package basically.
Okay, then I'm going to go to Mr. Samaro and ask him how many emails has the premises holder sent to the LET team?
Councillor Norris, I couldn't tell you exactly how many, but the stream that I've seen has been considerable, considering it's a small off license, and more than I would have expected, in honesty. And as I said earlier, they have been very, very helpful and resolved the situation at the shop. I think, though, with the support and help with Councillor Cohen.
Okay, well, thank you then. I would like to ask the residents, with the permission of the chair, one question.
Please do.
So I'm very, very mindful of children and women and their safety, and keeping the environment safe for children and women. and the general public. And you've described that there has been you've had some really terrible experiences, and you find it very scary and intimidating, the atmosphere around there. Have you reported these incidents formally to police or council? And if you did, have you received any responses on that?
Thank you, Councillor Aliyah. And thank you for coming back to the residents, because we are the ones that live on this on a daily basis. And the Councillor Wesley was asking about the reports. I'm really surprised that no one knows the amount. That should be a data that should have registered. I have a job, full-time job, 2 children, my husband as well. We spend hours on the phone with the police, let officers as well, which is council. We have been going to these meetings constantly. PC Tanner has been the most amazing support to us. She has been incredible. We have been struggling. We have been suffering. My children go to the primary school, St. Stephen's. Lots of children go to the park. Yes, we are a road that goes to the park. That doesn't mean that we have to take this. It's unsafe. It's risky for our children. And it has to do with AB wines. Mr. Rajesh says that there's no drug dealing going on since May. That is absolutely not true. Mr. Wastley say, oh, you can't see the label, therefore they're not drinking from there. I find that slightly disrespectful, because I know every drug dealer that is in front of that shop every day at every time, because I live here and I cross that path about 5 times a day. And I know who comes in, buys, and who sits in that bench outside. And I know they have been buying alcohol in there. So I really beg you to look at young parents with children that have nursery and school around. We have been struggling and suffering through this. Is dangerous. I feel unsafe, and my children feel unsafe as well.
I really appreciate you coming here tonight, and I really appreciate you sharing your concerns on behalf of, I'm sure, many other residents as well. But could you give me a number, or just a number, on how many times you might have reported these incidents, and have you had a response from the council?
We have had over time, because they became so increasing. And then I suppose when winter comes, it gets a bit more reduced because of the weather. It ramps up again and again and again. And these people are still out buying, dealing in open light in that particular hotspot and location. And there's something in there that is not right. And I'm afraid that that's why we're revising this. And revoking the alcohol license will reduce this. And for Mr. Rajesh, he can sell other types of goods and have a livelihood without this crime in front of him. And perhaps you can come back to selling alcohol later, but it's not good for you and your staff to be dealing with this. I empathize with Mr. Rajesh. These people have found that shop as an anchor, and it has made the neighborhood a very unsafe place to live in. I do not go to a supermarket at times. I go the other way. That's not okay. That is simply not okay. And in terms of the number of times, I hope there's a cut number, and I hope there's a cut numbers where you can see that. And me and several other residences name AB Wines because it's there where they get the produce. That's where they get the antisocial behavior comes from there. And in terms of the councillors, I have spoken to many councillors. I've been to many meetings. There's been response, but no change. I'm afraid there's something that is not right.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Chair, for indulging me. I will stop here and maybe let the other committee members ask some questions.
Okay, thank you, Councillor. And I think Councillor Wesley, Hackett, you raised your hand. Do you still want to?
No, that was just very briefly. I was going to clarify that I wasn't in response to what Cruz has just been saying. I wasn't actually what I was doing was clarifying whether somebody had actually checked about the where the booze had come from, and I was hoping to get a particular answer, but obviously nobody had done the work. That was the only point I was making.
Thank you. Okay. I must say to Ms. Cruz and George, I'm so sorry for what you've gone through. It's not fair and it's not right. And my question goes to, you said you've called police so many times. How many times has police responded to the call? I would like to go to PC Bennett or Turner, any of you to tell us how many times you have responded to the call of residents that are saying about antisocial behavior.
So referring back to my statement, I've highlighted the incidents that were directly associated with the venue. In regards to calling, we have a CAD system, and it only takes us back because this W12 area is quite a densely populated area, and it has quite a lot of calls to police. On our system, I can't go back to see all of that data. The only thing that I can say is I ran that postcode alone, which is W127JD, through it's basically a system that collates all the calls to police that were reported as potentially crime or non-crime. And that postcode alone in the past year has generated 71 crimes. And then if you compare that to the next postcode that has generated within White City, that's generated the next highest amount of crimes, which is W127JA, that's significantly lower, and that's 37 crimes linked to that other postcode. So where AB Wines is situated, that's quite a lot of crimes associated with that postcode. I'm not saying that's all linked directly to AB Wines, but they are, I would say they are one of those contributing factors.
Okay, good. So how many arrests have you made upon all this? So how many arrests have police done when you see those people congregating around there? So how many arrests have you made?
I can't give you data on exactly how many people have been arrested. All I can say is if they have generated a call where there needs to be police attendance, it's usually because there's some level of risk to somebody's safety or a crime has occurred in that area. Whether police think it's proportionate to arrests at the time is another factor. Obviously, we're a very stretched resource at the moment. And if we can deal with the incident in another way, we will do so. It's not always appropriate to arrest somebody. We can take a crime report and then ask them to come into a police station at a later date where we follow through with that investigation. So I can't give you an exact number on total arrests within that time frame, I'm afraid.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, how many dispatch order have you done in that area, and how many has worked since you gather around there, and people are frightened? So for crime, and what has police done?
So I know that following incidents of increased ASB around what we refer to as autumn nights, so that's Halloween and this week, fireworks week, over this weekend, because of the increased rates of ASB that Shepherd's Bush and other neighbouring boroughs have been experiencing, we did have a Section 35 dispersal order that has gone into place, which obviously is there to try and deter any sort of ASB in the area. I think in terms of any other dispersal options that have taken place regarding that area and that venue, I think that question would be best suited to PC Tanner to see if she's had any direct dealings with the people that congregate outside and
Okay.
how she's dealt with them.
All right then. Okay.
Hello, Chair. Yeah, so I made an Excel document of some of the CADs and investigations that happened in 2024 specifically, and there were 42 that I've made a note of, all of which were ASB nuisance. Sorry, I'll just go through the list. ASB nuisance, begging, vagrancy, drugs-related, rowdy or inconsiderate behaviour, drugs, violence against the person, theft, public order offences, drug-related offences, suspicious circumstances, knife and bladed articles, and violence against the person again. So these are all of the CAD numbers and investigations that I've kind of made a note of, and that was in 2024. And I don't think that is representative of the amount of times that people are calling in. These are only of note when it's logged. I think people are probably calling for that might not be crime related or logged as a crime. But I also think that there is an element of people that have lost faith in us doing our jobs for whatever reason, the resource, people that are scared to call in, the people that have given me impact statements that want to remain anonymous, people that don't like to call to wait. And like one of our residents has said this evening, she shouldn't have to keep calling for the same offences. I find it very difficult as a solo. Like I said before, I've worked on the White City for 2 years, but as a lone police officer to kind of navigate my way through this area, it's intimidating for me to have to kind of deal with these incidents on my own. But these incidents aren't only happening when I'm on duty; they are happening all around the clock at all the hours, and I cannot be there for all these times. And I just listen to these people cry at me and just they are so upset living around this, and I just want to help them in any way I can, and I feel like I have tried to engage in lots of different ways. We've done some live facial recognition on the Uxbridge Road. There's petitions to increase the residents' campaign to kind of put a petition on the Uxbridge Road to deal with the crime and prevention, and that's been really well received, to look at some of the ways that the council can maybe remedy the types of places that are given licenses, etc. And I feel like this is one of the things that I was really adamant that I wanted to support in its entirety, and obviously this is why we're here today.
Okay, thank you. Do you, Solomon, solicitor, do you think you can come in and at this point, do you have anything to add?
Well, other than my summing up, is there a question that I could answer, Councillor?
Well, I'm having to say that there are about 71 crime in this particular area is quite disturbing for us and for residents, like you can see from Cruz and George, and it's a worry. So I don't know what, and having heard from PC Turner, her alone there is quite a lot to handle. So I don't know what question to be asked and how you can, whether those people congregating around AB wine, it's difficult to phrase really what are the police doing about those people congregating around there? Is there any dispersal? Maybe as police Turner said, it's one person, it's quite a lot for her to carry out that dispersal.
Yes. I mean, I suppose to clarify, I'm an independent barrister, so I don't actually work for the police. I just have been asked to represent them.
Okay.
But what I would say is just based on my experience as a licensing specialist, it's obviously a very serious issue. It's obviously a lot of congregation at or very near this premises. But the police's powers are limited. They don't really generally have the resource to go and herd crowds of people away. If people are going to congregate, it's very hard to stop that. And, residents will often do their best to try and deal with this. But there's a lot of fatigue when you complain to the police over and over again, and then things don't improve because, in a sense, they almost can't improve. And the police has limited mechanisms at their disposal. One of them, which is the one it's trying to exercise today, is to say, okay, we've identified a premises where the sale of alcohol seems to have some connection with congregation. We should try and stop the sale of alcohol. And that's what the review system's for. It's what police licensing is for. But yeah, the options are limited, frankly.
I know, Neil, your hands is up. Do you want to say anything?
Yes, yes, please, Councillor. I've listened to the police, and I feel sorry that they are under-resourced. I've listened to the residents, and as like you, I feel sorry for them in that area. But what I don't want to see here is that AB Wines is being used as a scapegoat for everything that's going on in that area. There are other places, there are other reasons why these things happen. And if the police are under-resourced and they can't deal with it, that is not AB Wines' fault. The police stood out, as far as I'm aware, outside and across the road from AB Wines. I think it was Friday or Saturday night for nearly an hour. And I'm very surprised, well, I'm not surprised, but that hasn't been mentioned, because they actually stopped people in the street that were drinking and asked them if they bought it from AB Wines. They stopped another chap, and these people got annoyed with the police for asking where they bought it. They didn't buy it from AB Wines, but none of that has been mentioned. And from what I'm aware, there was no antisocial behaviour. They observed it for about an hour. They walked up and down, and there were no problems there. But that hasn't been mentioned at all. So that is also a concern. And my real concern is that you have somebody who's trying to run their business as best they can with these problems as well on top, and they are being used as a scapegoat for every problem that's happening in that postcode and that area. And the unfortunate place the police find themselves in is that they are under-resourced. It is very difficult. I've listened to what the police have said, and the only person that gets blamed for it is them. The residents blame them. My client blames them. Everybody blames the police. But it is not fair for AB Wines to just be used as a scapegoat, because you've seen in the bundle many other people that support it and say it's not them that's the problem. So there's two sides, as I said at my opening statement, to every story.
I have Councillor Wesley hands up. Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Just obviously, we have to reach a decision on all of this. And one of the key pieces of evidence was this handling of stolen goods. We've heard a lot about it. We've heard from both parties about it. I'm going to ask the police, having heard all of this, are you still of the opinion that what has happened constitutes handling stolen goods? Because that is ultimately what we will be, one of the key issues that we will be making a decision on. And I've heard all the other stuff that from residents, and really appalled to hear the sort of thing that goes on and such like. But ultimately, the decision will have to be made around the actual breaches and such like. And this is the one where there is actual evidence. So are you still happy that that constitutes a breach, given the evidence that you've heard?
Well, in Councillor, I think the main thing to note is there really hasn't been any changes to the evidence in what you've heard today, because we've all seen the same CCTV, we've all seen the same evidence as what the police base their assessment off of. And of course, the officers will directly answer your question to say whether they've changed their view for any reason. But the reality is, we don't know what was said from the CCTV, and we were clear about that in the representation. But this person dropped off stolen goods, money was exchanged. The person, the DPS, responsible person under the licensing regime, said, I purchased the goods from him and gave him money for it. He didn't turn him away. He didn't take the goods outside. So the evidence remains the same. But I'll leave it to the officers to answer if their assessment has changed in light of that.
Yeah, I agree. My assessment hasn't changed. Yes, there's no words, but we can clearly see that there's an exchange. Goods are left at the premises and the money is given to this person. It would have been best suited if the goods weren't accepted and police were called straight away and notified straight away. Therefore, yeah, the offence has taken place. I would also note, referring back to the reports from Trading Standards in regards to other persons attempting to sell potential stolen alcohol. Since this review was obviously put in, we were highlighted to an attempt on the 28th of October 2025 by the license holder. Well, that was sent to Trading Standards, and then again on the 3rd of November 2025. So it seems to be a reoccurring problem where you have people trying to sell stolen goods at this premises, and it seems to be known as a potential spot for this to take place. And only now, since my time of being in this job, since June 2025, I've been made aware of these attempts of sales. So there's nothing evidentially to prove that the purchase of stolen goods has happened in the past, but it is quite concerning that in the space of a week, we've been highlighted to the attempt of stolen property, the attempt sales of stolen property at the premises.
Thank you. Sorry, thank you.
I do have one question for the licensee. Is there any particular reason why you always have people gathering in your shop, around your shop, as been mentioned? Any reason you have those people hang around your shop? And what have you done in order to, have those people not hang around your shop?
Thank you, Chair, for asking that question. I have, since last year, I have been emailing the LET, the local enforcement team. I might have emailed them about 20-25 times, basically, and nothing had happened, basically. And my email was not just telling them that these people are hanging around. I was also telling them what was going on, basically. So basically, they had chosen that location because it's a junction between the Frithville Garden and Uxbridge Road, and you have a park at the other end, you have a market at the other end, you have a bus stop on one side, you have a station on one side. It's a very busy location. It's a good spot for them to do business, basically. Now I'm telling this with all the risk of me being attacked, because this is live on TV, on YouTube. But I'm taking that risk because somebody has to do something about it. I have actually mentioned that many times in my emails. Nothing was done. Then one fine day, I found the email of Councillor Stephen Cohen. I emailed him. Within a couple of days, I got a reply, and soon the crowd disappeared because he sent in the enforcement team, and they were kind of checking everyone, and then they just moved away from there. And then that was stopped last November. Then afterwards, they came back in May 25. And then I emailed the councillor again, and councillor managed to get the enforcement team again and get rid of them straight away. And since May, we didn't have any congregation in my area, in around the shop. Now there are groups going past, and they just come and buy stuff and go away. They don't hang around. anymore, which is good for me because they don't block my entrance. That's what I want. And I don't want people, 10, 15 people entering my shop together. You know, it's not safe and it's not good for me as well. The other thing was, since since the bus stop has moved there, it has been a problem because there are people coming from Acton, buying their drinks and coming and getting off at the stop and just sitting there and drinking. And most of the time they would be drinking a strong cider or a strong beer, and people assume that it's bought from my shop. And about the congregation, the party goes on till 2 a.m., 3 a.m. in the morning, and the residents can confirm that. And my shop closes at 10:30. So how can my shop be the problem, basically? I mean, this area has a problem, basically. It's a very busy area. There's a lot of uh, 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 illegal things happening around. I mean, I know a lot of things. I can't say this on live, I mean, but the thing is, all I want is my staff to be safe. I don't want any incident inside the shop, obviously, because it's a small shop, and uh, uh, two people pushing each other can damage a lot of things, basically, So I have done everything I could actually to prevent this, and I managed to succeed. I succeeded in doing this. Now, this congregation stopped in May, so I don't know why we are in this hearing at this point of time. It's a bit of surprise for me, but I hope people understand and take the right decision. Basically, for me, I just want to do my business. I have nothing to do with all these people. I don't want to know them. They were bad for my business. My regular people, customers, used to complain to us saying that get rid of them. We are scared to come in. And we can't fight 10, 15 people or 20 people. You stop one person, the other person comes and buys. We can't handle everyone. But they are doing their own business. And what they're doing there was like um, uh, but then they chose the area just because it was convenient for them in many ways.
Thank you, Mr. Jeffrey.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Chair.
before you speak, Mr. Noel, Rashid said that he has so many emails sent to the council. Why wasn't any of them produced as part of his evidence? Well,
to be perfectly honest with you, Councillor, sorry, you can see that I did include in the bundle a lot of emails from residents and from trading standards. I didn't purposely put it into the bundle because the bundle would have been so big and it was submitted late. But I knew it was maybe a question that would come up, and the emails to Councillor Cohen was omitted just by accident. I even mentioned it to you myself. But yes, they should have been in the bundle, and the committee would have had a first-hand view of the problems that he's had at the shop himself, not just the residents.
we have any more questions before we go into sum up? Any more questions? None. Now, summing up, please, can I ask the parties to sum up in 3 minutes, starting with licensing officer, please.
Okay, thank you, Chair. I have no further comments to make. Thank you.
Okay. The applicant, 3 minutes.
Thank you, Chair. There's a huge amount of material to respond to in 3 minutes, and particularly the 15-minute submissions of Mr. Samburu. There was a huge amount of incorrect statements. And I just want to say at the outset, because I'm time limited, the fact that I haven't addressed something does not mean I accept it. It just means I don't have time to talk about everything. So I'll try and talk about what I think is the most important issues here. Firstly, This is not a situation where there's a problem and the police are just blaming the license holder because they're the only person around. We think he is responsible for these issues. The previous reviews were all about him selling alcohol to people who are already intoxicated, selling alcohol that was too strong, not taking his responsibility seriously, and therefore causing antisocial behavior in his area because people were congregating somewhere they knew they could get drinks. We are saying the same thing is happening today. You'll notice that the applicant didn't say anything, the operator didn't say anything about the fact that we found a large cache of super strength beers in his premises, which was accessible by the public. All we were told is that the fridge wasn't on, but why does that matter? Why is there a big supply of super strength beers in the premises if they're not being sold? He shouldn't have that on his premises. In 2020, a condition was put on saying that was banned. Why is it there nearly 6 years later? The operator has told us the story about how he has been emailing and constantly getting in touch with the council and the authorities to try and resolve the situation. There's no evidence of that. The evidence apparently was mistakenly not put in this bundle. We can't talk about it because there's no evidence that that's happened. And it's, a very convenient theory, but it's not realistic and it's not the reality. He's been allowing the situation to persist by selling alcohol to people who shouldn't be drinking it. And the reality is, Chair, you've had clear evidence from the residents, both the ones who turned up today and in their representations, that it's this premises that's selling alcohol to people. Now, the police can't put them under 24/7 surveillance and make sure every alcohol that's being drunk outside is coming directly from the store. But if there's a large congregation of drunk people outside and off license every single day, the impression you get is that the alcohol is being purchased from the off license. There's no clear evidence to suggest otherwise. The reality is there are serious problems relating to antisocial behavior being caused by this premises selling alcohol to people who shouldn't be drinking it. The reality is there was handling of stolen goods at this premises, and then conveniently, we only start getting reports about stolen goods after these review processes are initiated. The reality is there were several breaches of conditions when this premises was investigated. The reality is there have been 2 previous reviews at this premises for poor behavior from the operator. So to close, we do not accept the operator's story that they've been a perfect operator, they've done everything right, as Mr. Samaru said, they've been excellent and gotten everything correct. No, this is a serious problem premises and is occasioning further problems because they're selling alcohol to people who shouldn't have it sold to them. For that reason, we ask for revocation.
Okay. Thank you so much. Now, can I ask George and Cruz, 3 minutes to sum up? Huh? Just 3 minutes.
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, that's 3 minutes each.
Yeah, I just want to reiterate that this is a problem area and hotspot and is induced by AB Wines not respecting what the license has said, what Mr. Soleimani said. Basically, drunk people come in there and keep getting more alcohol. People that shouldn't be getting alcohol are getting alcohol inside that premises. Why is it still happening? Mr. Rajesh said it's not happening since May. I can assure you, and my card numbers to the police, my emails to LED can attest that in front of AB Wines, congregations of people dealing, pissing, breaking bottles, buying alcohol and drinking it out there, causing antisocial behavior, unsafety for children in daylight, 2 p.m., 3 p.m., 5 p.m., 8 p.m. I've been followed from that location onto the tube. I've been told, what the F are you looking at, while I had my baby in my pram in front of that location. So it is not because of the park. It is not because of the bus station. It is because that place is selling alcohol, cheap alcohol, to people that shouldn't be having alcohol. They create a party, those drug dealers, outside that premises, and people follow. Addicts come, vulnerable addicts come and get their drugs and their drink in there, and then they go to the park. So I attest that is still a problem zone and a problem place, and I would like the license of alcohols to be revoked, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Now I ask the licensee, you have 12 minutes. So I don't know who wants to speak for 12 minutes you have.
I'll kick it off and then.
No, sorry. I think it's
Chair, may I ask a question just as a matter of procedure? I don't entirely understand why they're being given 12 minutes.
yeah, that's what I'm going to say, 6 minutes. I'm sorry. Because George didn't speak and Dara didn't. So you have 6 minutes, please.
Okay.
You have two speakers. That is so I'm sorry about that. 6 minutes.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I can only go over without repeating everything that I've said already. That the most important point that I wish to really make to the committee about this whole thing is I do feel that AB Wines is in danger of being used as a bit of a scapegoat. The owner of the shop has never denied that there's been a problem. And for it to be suggested that people are going in there, as I just heard, to buy drugs is ridiculous. With the situation where there was a breach for selling strong alcohol, on the license, it's 5.5% beers, ciders, which is classed as the strong beer. What they were found to be selling by pure mistake was barley wine. Now, if barley wine is marked up as a wine, he wasn't aware that it's a beer. And that's what it was. As soon as I think it was Mr. Love identified this shouldn't really be being sold, they took it off the shelf straight away. And barley wine is not something that people who drink strong beer want. They want to go to an off-licence where they can buy 9, 11% beer and cider. That shop doesn't sell it. And it hasn't sold it since the last review, and it was taken off the shelves. With respect to Mr. Solomon, the fridge, you've seen the photo, it's a broken down old fridge in the back of the warehouse, or the storeroom rather, that hasn't got access to customers. It was put in there, it's never been switched on, and it was just forgotten about. And it wasn't a large amount, has been said. I think you can ask Rajesh better than me, but he told me it was 5 or 6 cans that have been there for ages, and they were found by the police when they did an inspection. You asked, Chair, how many inspections have been done by the licensing authority. Well, there have been inspections, as I've already outlined to you, by trading standards, in-depth searches and questions being asked of the license holder. And he gave them a clean bill of health every time. If they were selling strong beers and breaching their license conditions, they would have found it when they did their search of the premises. With respect to people regarding the labels, yes, they were originally labelling every can, putting them in the fridges. The labels fall off, people take them out, sticks to their clothes. So what they do is when they take the alcohol to the till and it's purchased, they put a label on it, which is the most sensible way to approach it. So they do make sure that every single item of alcohol that leaves that shop is labelled with AB Wines. And as you said earlier, nobody has ever found any bottles with AB Wines labels on it. There's a lot of supposition that points the finger at AB Wines because of their location. They are on the corner of the road that leads down, or the street that leads down to the park. The bus stop is right opposite. And the supposition is that everybody is walking around in Chiswick or whatever, is all buying their alcohol from AB Wines. It is not the case. Yes, they have their customers, their local customers. He's been there a long time. And yes, he did have a problem about a year ago, and he's openly said, with some antisocial behaviour. But that can happen anywhere. They are not a magnet for it. The magnet is where they are located. The police have, from what I've seen, have now dealt with it. I think I've put a picture in our bundle. On a Friday night at 8 o'clock, the street was empty. It's not that sort of magnet anymore. But the area can be if it's not policed properly. But they seem to be doing a good job there, and the issue isn't there. With regards to the very important point and what the trigger was for this hearing was, are they involved in receiving stolen goods? No, they are not. I spoke with the licensee about it previously. He said it has happened in the past, but they just told people to go away. No, they didn't report it, and they didn't know they had to report it. They had a conversation with Mr. Love, who said, look, if anybody comes to the shop to either sell you goods from the back of a van or saying they're on to return goods or they're trying to sell goods, report it to me and to the police. That's what they've now been doing. And to say that, oh, because they didn't do it in the past, they must have been buying these goods, it's just simply not the case. So I'd like to just finish my part by saying to you that the presentation I put to you this evening it's a very unfortunate situation for them to find themselves in. They've tried very hard not to find themselves in this situation. But I think we put in front of the committee a different picture as to what is trying to be painted to you. And I'm hoping that the committee will not revoke this license, allow him to improve as he is improving, keep this business going for the local community, because he's the one that reports a lot of the incidents out there, and so that he can continue to prosper, service, and help his family and feed his family. Thank you. I'm sure that Rajesh would like to add to what I've said.
Yeah. Actually, you only have 2 minutes left, so.
Thanks, Chair. So basically, the strong beers that they found in the storeroom were all out of date, basically sitting there because we pile up rubbish over there. So that fridge is not working and was not working for last many years. So we just piled the rubbish over there, and because the staff probably just dumped it in the fridge because they removed it from the shelves and put it in the back, so they didn't know what to do. They just dumped it in the fridge, and we just forgot. And there's hardly any light in that corner, so I never realized they were still there. And as soon as the officers showed us, we just got rid of them basically. But they were all anyway out of date. And the other thing about the reporting of stolen goods was that the last two incidents of reporting was purely somebody trying to wholesale alcohol without AWRS license, which is the alcohol wholesale license. So that was reported to Mr. Love, and it wasn't anything to do with stolen.
I have to
Thank
stop
you.
you so
Thank
far.
you. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay,
Thank you.
I have to stop you. Thank you so much. The committee now will retire and take its decision in a separate room. You are welcome to remain in the meeting to hear committee's decision. However, this might take some time. If you do not want to wait, a summary decision will be published on Council's website tomorrow morning. Can I ask members to turn off their video, mute their microphone, and join in a private meeting? Okay. Charles, is everybody in?
Not yet, Chair. People are just returning.
Okay. Tell me so when to start. Everybody in?
Not yet.
Okay, we wait.
The 2 residents seem to be missing as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, they will hear the news tomorrow morning. Edwin, is Edwin here? No. Okay.
And is Emmanuel, so yeah.
Yeah, he's here.
Okay.
Okay, Charles, I think I'm going to start. Okay. Summary decision of licensing subcommittee, 4th of November, 2025. AB Wine, 218 Oxbridge Road, London, West 12, 7 JD, the premises. The committee has considered an application for a review of premises license under the Section 51 of Licensing Act, 2003. The application, in summary, the committee has decided, after taking into account all the individual circumstances of this case and the promotion of 4 licensing objectives, to revoke the license. A copy of this committee's full decision, including its reasons, will be sent to the parties forthwith. If the applicant or any person who had made relevant representation is unhappy with the decision, they are entitled to appeal to the magistrate court within 21 days from the date of notification of the full decision. Thank you everyone for watching, and